Um, Hello, trainees. Welcome to another session of this wonderful training. We have gone a long way with the uh, basis for understanding um, television journalism, understanding um, reporting, understanding media law, media code of ethics, and other um, principles of reporting. Last session, I told you to all make an attempt to prepare a report. When I did um, uh, uh, um, the session in which I focused on um, campus reporting and then agricultural reporting. So after campus reporting that I now focus on agricultural reporting, where I talked about various aspects of agricultural reportage and then um, how such reports can be carried out, can be done. And I um, told you to make an attempt by visiting the appropriate body, agency, or institution to start something and forward to Trippies Media. That was what I said. I don't know how many of you actually did that, but it is imperative that uh, whenever a session is being completed, even without being told to do any assignment or any practical work, you should on your own try something. That is the best way you will get used to the training. That is the best way you will be able to carry out the training in a way that you will uh, get used to what has been taught so far. You know, this saying, the say, practice make perfect. As you try one task or the other, you will gradually start getting used to the techniques of reporting using the camera through television. So you need to actually get involved in the practical work. Anytime a session is completed, you should try to see how you can practicalize what is being done, what is being taught by following the steps, the procedure given during the session. It is extremely important that this be taken into consideration. I I want you to all know that what is being done here is to bring all of you up as professionals. That is the reason this training is being done in this way. Like I keep on saying this because it is imperative that you understand what is being done. And by understanding that is by putting what is being taught to practice. So I would uh, encourage all of you who didn't make any attempt in trying something based on the campus reporting or agricultural reporting. You may not necessarily start with the ones that we earlier did. You can pick any aspect that you want to try and then do something and forward to Trippies Media, like I said. Whatever you forward that is of importance, that is relevant, will be used. and the credit will be given to you as the reporter, as the field reporter, as someone who obtained the story. Even when presenters in the studio present stories, they give credit to the to the reporter on field. The presenter is in the studio that presents story based on how the bulletin is being aligned, and then you hear the presenter saying, um, the hyperinflation in Nigeria has affected low class income earners, and the economic situation is getting worse day by day. Our correspondent, then your name will be mentioned, our correspondent, John Okoye, our correspondent, Ruth Omadikwe, who carried a survey or whatever, has the rest of the story. Or you can hear that John Udo presents the rest of the story or has the rest of the story, which means that credit is being given to the on-field reporter. That's the person who actually went to the field to gather the story. The presenter is only presenting all the reports that are gathered to form the bulletin, but still give credit to all the reporters who participated in making the bulletin possible. So once you do that, you will receive the credit too. And it is important when you receive credit for a good work, people would want to associate with you, to learn from you, and you have other opportunities to participate based on the good work you did and credit was given to you. Today, we're going to focus on television and educational reporting. See, the reason I put television and educational reporting, television and agricultural reporting, television and campus reporting. The reason I use television is because this training focuses mostly on television. So you need to know the techniques involved. How should television be used in covering a particular aspect? How should it be used? Because television is different from radio, newspaper, and the rest. So the way newspaper and educational reporting will be different from the way television and educational reporting is done, from the way radio and television reporting, radio and educational reporting is done. So you see that there will be a difference in reporting these using these media platforms. When you use newspaper for educational reporting, radio for educational reporting, television for educational reporting. Once these platforms, media platforms, report the same story, you will see the difference in the report they will bring. It won't follow the same style because of their nature of a platform. Newspaper is print, radio is audio, TV is audio visual. So you see the difference between them. So television and educational reporting, these what how the camera is used to report activities in education. When you talk about television and educational reporting, it is a broad context because education has many things. You have institutions, you have boards in education, you have lecturers, you have heads, management of education, you have different unions in the institutions, you have a lot to cover or to talk about when it comes to television and educational reporting. Stories about education are cut across all the educational institutions. We have the pre-primary, have the primary, we have post-primary, which is the secondary school, we have tertiary institutions. And then apart from the institutions in education, then you have the Ministry of Education at the federal level, which the minister is in charge. Then at the state level of the Ministry of Education, you have the Commissioner of Education, which is in charge. And then in that, you have different boards in education. You have different boards, and then you have different commissions in education. You have different boards, have National University Commission, NUC, you have NCCE, National Commission, NCC, National Commission for Colleges of Education, and then you have NAPTEC for Polytechnic, because the NCC is for Colleges of Education, NUC is for University, NAPTEC is for Polytechnic. That is, I think, National Board for Technical Education, and NAPTEC. And then you have other unions in education. You have ASU, you have ASU is there, Academic Staff Union of Universities. You have COASU, College of Education Academic Staff Union. You have ASU, Academic Staff Union of Polytechnics. And then you have the heads of these institutions and how they are addressed. You have the Vice Chancellor in university, you have the Rector in Polytechnic, you have the Provost in College of Education and other tertiary institutions that are colleges, where the head is known as the Provost. And then the management team is there for Polytechnic and Colleges of Education, the university. You also have the University Senate. And before you go into reporting education, you need to know the terms to be used. You need to have a vast knowledge about the terms that should be used so that your report will be professional. That is the reason research is is like the center. Research is like the spinal cord. Research is like the heart. It supports the system. It supports everything that is being done. It is with research or through research that you will be able to get whatever information you need to report anything in education. Because what you don't know, you don't know. There's a saying that you can't give what you don't have. That is the reason when people talk, they talk based on what they know. They can't talk beyond what they know. There's no magic that anybody can do that you can say what you have no knowledge of. Because whatever you are saying that you have no knowledge about becomes wrong. You can say anything that you don't know, but once it is not the laid down concept, it becomes wrong. That is why people write exams, some pass, some fail, because they write the exam quite right, but they write the wrong thing. So your research will give you in-depth knowledge about how educational reporting should be done. If I am going to carry out a report concerning pre-primary institution or schools, pre-primary schools, what should I do? primary school, what step should I take? At the primary school, you normally have the head master or head mistress. At the secondary school, you have the principal that is in charge. Now, when you want to do any report, you want to write any report, you go to the institution because various events can happen. Maybe just like JAM, which the recent result of JAM showed the number of the percentage of success and failure, and then the number that scored above above 300 or 300 and above, the number that scored 200 to 299 and so, and then the students from the schools that made those scores, that had those scores. So reports were out about the institutions. Reporters went to the institutions to interview the teachers and then the students, and the report was to understand how the school, what did the school do to make them perform that well, because teaching techniques can be not can they are different, despite the fact that education, those who did education in colleges of education or in the university that did education, there is something that is called classroom management. How a teacher manages the class, how the teacher instills discipline in the class, how the teacher understands the nature of the student, learning conducive, even in the most unconducive environment. So the teacher has a role to play in making students to be open to learning. So what techniques should a teacher apply for pre-primary pupils or primary? Then what method should a teacher apply to secondary and university? It cannot be the same. The principle of managing students cannot be the same. There is no uh, hit for all rule that this one stand for all students, because those from the pre-primary, they are still coming up. So how they are being treated is different from those in the primary and secondary to the university or higher institution. That is the reason the way learning is being done or teaching is being done in higher institution is different from the way it is being done in secondary school. If a student doesn't get the foundation from primary mostly to secondary, then such a student might find it difficult to perform exceptionally in the university, except for those who are gifted, that they will be able to make it up. So the foundation actually matters. Now, the role of uh, journalists in promoting education is to look at the lapses, at the shortcoming. What is the requirement for teaching? Are institutions employing people who are qualified to teach? Because if institutions employed unqualified teachers, then it means the students would not get the will not get standard or quality education and would face a lot of challenges by the time they graduate or finish from their schools. So the quality of teachers helped a lot. And then the instructional materials used in teaching, the instructional materials used in teaching. Instructional materials are used to taught that illustration they're used to make, because when you are talking about a particular concept, you're talking about a particular setting or thing, and you have something to demonstrate, because we are talking about an ocean, talking about how a ship floats, the ship drawn on the cardboard with floating on the ocean, and you are able to use that to illustrate, to demonstrate. Students will understand better than communicating without anything to make them have a kind of vision of how what you are saying looks like. So it makes them to understand what you're saying easily when instructional materials are put in place. So journalists can play critical role in repositioning Nigeria's education, because a lot has happened and our educational system is decaying. So if an institution, if there is a standard for teaching, maybe teachers must register with the Teachers Registration Council of Nigeria, I think TRCN. You must have that registration and be have an induction before you can be qualified to teach, or you must have a bias in education, have a qualification in education. So before you teach, you should have a qualification in education or that. So if there are policies that point towards this, it is left for journalists to actually contribute by helping the government. Are these policies followed? Are the regulations being obeyed? Are these institutions doing the right thing? Because the problem in education, in Nigerian education system, is compounded. There are a lot of lapses, a lot of challenges, a lot of issues that have compounded the system. That is why at a point, NYC said that the that about 80% of graduates from higher institution, or 80% of corpers couldn't 80% of corpers could not actually write letters, that they could not write formal letters. So it was something that was so worrisome. They said that they blamed either the parents, educators, or the institution. So that was published in one of the national dailies, I think Vanguard, where the director general said that the 80% of corpers were unable to write formal letters accurately the way they should be written. So Vanguard did a survey, did an interview, and exposed uh, the problem. If 80% of graduates could not write formal letter appropriately, then it means something is not right. How can that be corrected? How can that be corrected? So it means that reporters have a role to play in doing this coverage, in ensuring that they take these issues to the government. A reporter can look at an institution. If someone claims he or she graduates from a particular school, and the person performs very well. A report can be conducted to promote the person and also appreciate the institution. And where government policies are not favorable, the report can also be carried out. Now, in visiting institutions to carry out interviews, first, for private institutions, because private institutions are mostly business oriented. Private institutions are mostly business oriented. So they may actually be doing certain things that they may not want reporters to get that on camera. So if you happen to go to any private institution to do a report, and the maybe some schools, the proprietor or the proprietress normally have an office, and they're always there. Some you see the vice principal or you see the principal, and then some you see the rector, and then some private universities you see the founder having an office. Some private polytechnic you see the founder having the office within the institution, and they normally go to work there. So when anything is to be done that should be captured on camera, they would want to be in the know so that certain things will not implicate the institution. Just like I said when I was talking about campus reporting. In educational reporting, you are going to report things that are outside campus reporting. You're going to report not social life. Educational reporting, you are reporting things of educational value. Maybe you're talking about the classroom structure, you're talking about the classroom setting, the infrastructure, you're talking about the instructional materials, you're talking about the quality of teachers. Are the teachers qualified? Then the performance of the students. Are the students performing well? Have they been performing the way they should? What is the curriculum? Is the school following the curriculum? Because there are uh, there are principles, and there are a lot of policies that are made that institutions have to follow. But because of negligence, it's not that these institutions don't know the right thing to do, but because of negligence, the system is decaying gradually, decaying gradually, decaying gradually. You see a graduate that will not be able to think critically, to act the way such a graduate is supposed to act, because the institution did not uh, give the best required to make such a person employable. That is the reason that at the point um, some persons were complaining that most graduates are not employable. They graduate but lack the skill required to be employed, lack the knowledge. They have the certificate, but the knowledge is not there. So, what could be the problem? And once you look deep, you discover that the government is at fault, the institution is at fault, the parents are at fault. So if parents, at times parents don't actually give their children the support they need to get the best in school, and then the school also compound the problem by having teachers who uh, don't know how to lecture or how to teach. Some teachers are happy to see students fail. They deliberately subject students to situations that will make them fail. They derive pleasure to see students perform very terribly. So they discourage such students from concentrating and getting the best. Most at times when you look at this situation of dropouts and some students being frustrated, some lecturers are at fault as well, some teachers for inflicting psychological pains on the students. At times it may not be physical, but they give these students mental torture. It is expected that journalists should find out the challenges, the problem, so you can use your camera to interview students and be able to let them talk about what they face in their school. What are the challenges? You can do a random report and ask them what they are facing in the institution, what is actually their challenge. And then you can as well do your findings as a journalist, especially where certain things are not done the right way, so that there will be correction. Despite the fact that some students may not want to speak in that regard for the fear of being punished by the institution for exposing certain things, because as long as a student hasn't graduated from the institution, anything can happen. So the person will be afraid because the person is still a student and would not want to expose certain things. I would not want to say certain things because of fear of being victimized. That is where investigative reporting plays a critical role. Certain persons can move, journalists can move into institutions and find out certain wrongdoings that certain students might have complained about, or certain people might have complained about, and be able to get the story and put to the public. You see, journalism is about promoting, bringing development by promoting things that will enhance development. Journalism is about exposing evildoers. That is where investigative reporting comes in. Journalism is about uh, informing people about what they don't know. Journalists go deep, get information, and give the public. So it is the role of journalists to ensure that where there are problems in our educational system, the right thing is being done to fix the problem. That is the reason you see a lot of issues happened, a lot of agitations, struggles that led to uh, in the increment in the allocation for education. And then you see TED fund projects going on in various tertiary institutions in Nigeria, and then TED fund sponsorship of uh, lecturers and other staff to further their education and go for conferences and workshop. It is imperative because they get this knowledge and come back to improve the quality of teaching for the student to get the best. Now, you have to do a report. What is the impact of TED Fund? Has TED Fund actually made the impact as required? So you need to visit TED Fund office and desk, get their blueprint, what is the goal, mission, rules, regulation, and all that. And then you can try to assess institutions. You can visit institutions and see the level TED Fund has made impact. You can interview TED Fund beneficiaries. You can take your camera, interview lecturers who have gone on trainings, and then they can tell you what they obtained or gone on conferences and workshops through TED Fund, and how that has actually transformed them or benefited them, and how they have actually made impact on students and others using what they obtained from the training, courtesy of TED Fund. So such report, once you put together, It's a report that appreciates the government for what it's doing, and then where there are loopholes, call the attention of the government to now come in and solve the problem. Because if the government is not, the attention of government is not drawn to certain challenges or certain issues, the government may actually not know. Because certain things, when report gets to the appropriate authorities, the report or the committee and those who normally submit the report, they write what is not the reality on ground. It is through the media that the reality in most cases is being exposed, because the report would indicate that these things, the project was completed, the facilities in the institution was done, the supplies were in order. But the report from the media would indicate otherwise. Will show that this building, this third form structure, or this building for the institution that was reported to have been completed has not even gone anywhere. Or you will hear that the maybe approval was made for 150 laptops to be bought or desktop to be bought for the ICT unit, and maybe just 15 were bought and supplied, or 20, and then the report will indicate that the 150 were bought and supplied. But through uh, report from journalists, the government will now have to come in. The head, but this thing was, the report indicated that the work was done, but why is the media telling us otherwise? That is the reason you hear of EFCC inviting certain persons to answer questions or drilling certain persons. You have IPC or ICPC, Independent Corrupt Practice Commission, ICPC, inviting certain persons to be drilled as well. And then you hear of certain arrests coming up because of the report from the media. So certain persons will now be put under watch because of the media. So you see that journalism has played and is still playing critical roles in national development, in nation building, in educational development, in rural development, in agricultural development. The media is there and cannot be isolated from these developments. So it is important that journalists cover issues of education as well. Where there are agitation, you go there, you interview. Now, ASU has always been agitating for one thing or the other. The media, TV especially, will help in bringing out certain things by interviewing those involved, taking visuals of what should be done. Because the ASU chairman and some of the ASU executives said they needed, apart from the 2009 agreement to be implemented, they also needed improved funding for academic research work and other infrastructural development. So uh, television journalists can go to the institutions, get shots of the infrastructures that are there, and make a report. Because if ASU is talking about this particular institution has this and lack that. So when people see this on screen, they will believe better. They will believe than what they just hear. There should be a report that will indicate that yes, the laboratories are not in good shape and certain structures are actually dilapidated, and this is the state of things. so that the public sympathy can also increase. When the public rise for something, it becomes very, very sensitive. That is why you see when the issue of NSAS came up, because of the way that was taken up, the government was forced to disband SARS, which ordinarily wouldn't have been disbanded if not for the public outcry of the certain activities that they saw that SARS carried out to the detriment of those that were supposed to protect. So the media is extremely important. So television here comes in as the best platform used in this regard because of its special future, like I always say, because of its audiovisual future that is very, very unique. So through that, you can bring in report on education. And there are experts, just like I have been saying, there are experts in education. Whenever you are doing a report about education, remember what aspect in education are you talking about? You set your camera, on your tripod, and interview the person. Like I said, you're not supposed to have visuals that are always shaking, because when you are interviewing someone, your camera should be still. When you are interviewing someone, your camera should be still. There are situations where if your camera is shaking, to be understood, like uh, motion session, motion actions, like people are moving and then you are also moving with your camera. So it will be difficult for your camera to be still at that moment because your subject is moving. So you have to be moving with the camera. Maybe you are dolling in to dolly out, or you're panning. So in some situations, they not to shake too much. So in some ways where the reporter is moving, trying to actually get a shot where the subjects are coming or going out. In that situation, the camera would actually have some swings. But where an interview is to be done, like a box pop or a 3 minute interview with an expert in the person's office or any location, you need a tripod to set your camera, let it be still. At that point, it will not be professional for your camera to be shaking in such interview. So you can interview the person on certain issues, maybe a director of a board in education. Maybe you're talking about quality assurance, director of quality assurance in education in a state. So the person will tell you the effort they have been making to ensure that teachers are doing the right thing, our founders of institutions are doing the right thing, and when the right thing is not done, what is the penalty and how far has the penalty been enforced? And with the penalty, has any positive impact been made? Because if there is a penalty for any wrongdoing and the penalty has been enforced as deterrent to others, is there any improvement? Has there been any improvement? Where there is no improvement, then it means the penalty has not helped. The reason for penalty is to reduce whatever negative impact that is felt. Where people commit crime, penalties are meted on them, and the crime still persists, then it means there should be a review of that penalty, or something needs to be added to that. Maybe it shouldn't be just that penalty, maybe two or three should go concurrently, or maybe should go in serially. This one, once you face this, after that you face the second, after that you face the third, so that the person will now learn. Because some persons face certain penalty, as soon as that is over, they still repeat the same crime or wrongdoing. So it means that the penalty is ineffective. So your report should actually cover this thing. What penalty is for this offense or that? So how many people have been prosecuted or dealt with or punished? Is there any result? Is there any improvement? Has that actually changed the system? What is different from before? Before the penalty came on, before the penalty was enforced, what was the rate of embezzlement, wrongdoing, or infrastructural decay, or siphoning funding for development, and all that? Now that penalties are being enforced, is there any difference? Once you don't see any difference, or maybe things are worse, then it seems something is wrong in the system. Then what is actually wrong? So that is how media should play roles in looking critically into issues that will bring development. So you are expected as trainees of three-piece media to be creative. I've always been talking about creativity. Creativity means doing what is extraordinary, doing what is not common. That doesn't mean you should go beyond your ability if you know you will not be able. But for those who will be able, they can be able to reason and think of what to add, what to do that will be unique from what is normally done. So you can decide to think of an idea or concept or something that you can actually conduct an interview on or do a future story, not just in education, like I have said before, in various aspects of the sessions we have treated or we have carried out. So you can now look for a concept, a topic, an idea, and do your research about that idea, see what you can obtain, what you can get, how you can get those in things, and then the people to meet, how to go about the interviews, the communications, and how you can put those things together and obtain the information you need to make your presentation and your report to be professional. Then from there, you can now start the, the process properly. You can now begin. That is, the research is part of the pre-production. Then from there, you can now do your report. Now, in doing anything that has to do with education, you must know the terms that are used appropriately. You must know the bodies, the agencies that are in charge, the bodies that are in charge of certain regulation, because institutions have regulatory bodies. Like I said, the NUC is in charge for the university. It is the NUC that approves establishment of universities. If anybody wants to open any university, the person must go to NUC, and they will tell you what you need to do, the requirement for getting a university. And by the time you meet that requirement, your university will be accredited. That is known as institutional accreditation. Your institution will be accredited. That means it is approved. So once your institution is approved, it will receive the appropriate accreditation, and the accreditation means that it can start operation. So once operation starts, once the accreditation is being done and institutional operation starts, if there are courses that are there to be done, there will also be course accreditation. There's a difference between institutional accreditation and course accreditation, because once the institutional accreditation is done, it means you have met the administrative requirement to have a university. But to operate, to have courses to operate, then you need accreditation. And the accreditation requires boards in those areas. We have a current for engineering. I think this is Council for Regulation of Engineering in Nigeria. So it's current, they in charge of engineering. So by the time you have any engineering department in the university, the accreditation can only be done by current and NUC. NUC will come, current will be there, and then the accreditation will be done. There will be experts that will ensure that the accreditation is done, to ensure that the engineering department has met the requirement for engineering. So as television journalists, you need to play that role of awareness so that your work can appreciate what NUC is doing for university, what NCC is doing for colleges of education, what NAPTEP is doing for polytechnic. And then it will also show the lapses, the challenges where improvement should be made. Because in presenting your report, not just in education, anywhere, you should try to at all times balance, because there is no way an institution will be completely bad or wrong, or will be completely good. There are always lapses. So once you do a report, you can also put however. There should be however in that. The institution has this, has that, is actually doing this well, doing that. However, in these areas, the institution is far behind quality, or it's below par, and then you begin to explain why this is like this, why this is that, why there should be an improvement in this area, and so on and so forth. So your report should be objective, it should be balanced. That is the reason before this training went to the level it has gone to the level it has been today, I talked about ethics, where I mentioned fairness, objectivity, accuracy, and all that. So your report must have these things. That is the reason you see those were the early topics that were treated, because they would be applied in all the reports that you will be doing to the end. Because a code of ethics and media law, they are important aspect in everything you are doing. They play they play critical roles in anything you're doing in your journalism, in your coverage. Once you're doing anything, you ask yourself, is this accurate? Is there fairness? Is it balanced? Could this be against, could this bring any litigation? Could it be lead to defamation? Could it be libel? And so on. So it will guide you on what to say, what to write, what to do. So that once you see that it doesn't meet the standard, or it is against the media law, then you step it down, stop or cancel it, and switch to what you know would not actually bring litigation. So you see how you can control that. So it is imperative that these concepts be known, the terms be understood, the appropriate people to meet for interviews concerning education is being known, and how to go about it is also being understood. So that by the time you present your report, by the time you present your report, it will help the institution to develop, it will help the government to provide the necessary services required for institutional development, for educational development, because of your report. The government acts on media report so much. There may be certain things that the government might deliberately be giving a blind eye to. But when the media consistently make that known to the public, the government will have no choice than to proffer solution to that. So the media has actually helped. The media have actually helped in transforming Nigeria, in transforming a lot of things, in taking Nigeria to where it is today, despite the fact that people still say that Nigeria has not gone to a level they expect, but things would have been worse if not for the role of the media. So it is very important that that role should continue and the impact will keep on growing. People will keep on having that opportunity to benefit from the development that would be brought forth as a result of the relentless effort of journalists to see that things are done the right way and people enjoy the, the dividends of democracy, enjoy the benefits of being a citizen of Nigeria. So it is very important that this be taken very seriously. Just like I have earlier said, we have actually come to the end of this session, but I want to still appeal that Trippi's media is actually uh, concerned about ensuring that you become professional reporters. And that can only happen if you are committed to this training. It is your commitment that will help you to develop yourself better for Trippi's media as well. Because whatever you take seriously from this training is going to be with you forever. Even if in future you are no more with Trippi's media, you can utilize what Trippi's media is offering you today anywhere and make significant impact. So please, I'm still saying this, after every training, ensure that you do something. Using what has been taught, try to do something. Even if it is not going to be officially used by Trippi's media, it will help you to see areas where you have not done well and then see how you can improve on that gradually until you get it right. So if you don't practice, when will you start practicing to get it right? So it is now that you have to be doing that because this is the first phase of the training, which will definitely end on the 26th of next month. This training is going to end officially on the 26th of next month. So by the time it is ended, the management of Trippage Media will communicate to you on what next will be done. So you need to be doing something, and then you can send to Trippage Media. If there are areas where corrections are there, you will be told so that it will show that you're actually getting what is being done here. It will show that you're actually serious and you are actually committed to becoming a professional journalist by the time this whole training ends. You'll be loaded with all that is required to fix you where you desire to be. Thank you for being. Goodbye. See you on Saturday. Thank you.